giving sex metal Barbie homicidal queen? Is it sick of me to need control of you? Two different songs by In This Moment. Girl, get into it. Girl, get into it. If you hear a squeak, that's the chair. Hello. Welcome to my channel. It's your girl, the Citron Baddie, the J Barbie, the baby SZA. And I'm giving you all of that today. Today, we talk about this for another time, the vibe that I'm going for this channel. And also, I'm going to talk about this. ASMR. You know, it's hard to record when there's a screen in front of you and you can't help but to look at yourself. So if I'm looking down, it's because how can I not look at my gorgeous self? And that's what you try to figure out all the time. Ah! Okay, I'm joking. But like ASMR, this is giving very much inner child healing, inner teenage healing. Again, like I said, when I was a teenager, I would pull out the camera. I don't think we had a computer with a webcam, but I would pull out the camera, sit there, my sister in the background after we got out of school, take pictures and record myself. And oh, would I look a hot mess, but I was being creative. And so, in many ways, this is me embracing my creative side. And I do have an HD webcam, but every time I turn that on, again, why do you need to see every single little detail in my face? And I don't even look like that in real life. I look like this in real life. See this? Soft baby face. Soft, gentle. You don't need to see every little follicle. So, speaking of, this channel is going to be giving authenticity. And sometimes authenticity doesn't have to mean shitty camera quality. It means that I'm going to be giving you early YouTube. It's going to be giving early 2000s. It's going to be giving very much 2009, very much 2008, where people would just sit in front of a camera. Oh, I got a message. Oh. Well. Anyways, it's going to be giving very much sitting in front of a camera and talking and engaging. You know what I mean? It's going to be giving very much, I'm sorry, that distracted the fuck out of me. I'll be right back. I'm sorry. It's never a right time to record a video. Okay. I'm locked in. I'm here. So, yeah, basically it's going to be giving very much early 2000s. It's going to be, a little bit of a late 2000s of like where the girls would get in front of the computer and just start talking. Or like, for the girlies that were the alternative kids where you would go on YouTube and watch a girl stretch their ears, watch a girl pierce their nose, watch a girl put on a fit, watch a girl do a makeup tutorial, or not even a makeup tutorial, just getting on the camera and putting on makeup, even the makeup looking a hot mess. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what it gives. It's not, and it's giving, I'm on here because I want to post a video. It's not giving, I'm on here to monetize myself. Now, if I get monetized, I'd be gagged. I'm not even going to lie to you. Like, wow, I was consistent enough to follow through to get monetized. You know what I mean? Because the ADHD be winning. I be having 50 hobbies, and that's what happens when you have ADHD and you are just a very talented individual. You're a very creative individual that has all these outlets between writing, between music, between as you see, I got a guitar in the background. I have a flute somewhere in my room. Between music, between writing, between painting, between drawing, between photography, between all of these things Between on my part-time being a therapist, like when I got the message right now, like I'm doing everything all the time. And so like, and I know y'all heard the boop boop, you see what I'm saying? Like, you know, the Discord girlies know, like, you know, I be having my auntie hat on, I be having my best friend hat on, I be having my therapist hat on, I be having my mediator hat on. I'm always doing something. So if I'm able to get this far ahead, where if it gets to that point, I would be gagged. So I say this to say I'm here to sit in front of a camera and talk, literally. I have past videos where I will try to merge it all together, and it'll have a theme. I'll have themed topics to yap about. I think one of the topics, well, I'm putting together a video, and like, it's taken me some time, because when I have to look at it and you have to relive the past, you get emotional. You do get invested. You do feel a part of it, and it hurts. It makes you feel emotional in the moment. At least for me, looking back at myself, crying, looking back at old messages, and then also talking to individuals about the messages and being like, hey, would you be down to like get in front of a camera and talk about it? Like, are you down to talk about it, even if like I'm holding my phone and we're having this conversation, so that the things that I'm sharing and the things that I'm talking about is not a biased perspective. And don't get me wrong, though it may be my side of thoughts or feelings, it's still my truth, because it's still my perceptive. It's still my interpretation of things. This is what I went through when I seen this. This is how I felt. This is what was happening to me, for me. So my truth is valid. And so if anyone else feels like, hey, you didn't provide context to this, you know, I was reacting like this because of this, let's talk about it, because I'm that open of a person. Let's talk about it. If I was a dickhead, tell me, and let me open up to why I did that, or let me apologize. So with that being said, because that video is going to come out from 2021 and talk and just showing everything, and then maybe in another video I'll talk about where I am and how I feel about that stuff, and like maybe some type of update with that in general. But yeah, it gives very much video diary. And so one of the videos I plan on making is actually me sitting in front of a camera and saying, I have the audacity. I may get on here and I may say, I'm a good person, I'm a this, I'm a that. And I am, but I'm not a perfect person. And that's the thing, like, we could feel that we are good people. We can feel that we go through so many things, but we don't realize how maybe a situation that we didn't think was a big deal affected other people. And these are things that have been brought to me, like when I was younger, where I thought, oh, I'm so great, I'm so this, I'm so that, blah, 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 I'm so amazing. But I wasn't always amazing. Sometimes I did allow myself to be affected by other people, and like, I wasn't the greatest friend, I wasn't the greatest person, I was easily influenced, and I was doing certain things that would hurt people's feelings, and that they would later bring up to me like, hey, like, you know, when we were in middle school you did this, and like, it really hurt my feelings, like I thought we were cool. And that's valid. That is so valid. Like, you know, then I never really thought about that, or I never really remembered that, because again, I was the person affecting that person. So of course I wouldn't remember, but they obviously remembered it. And so it's important to talk about this, because it's important that we take accountability, and it's important to realize that we're not always correct. We're not always right. Sorry. We're not always correct. We're not always right. We don't always have the answers to everything. We're not always like, oh, I'm great, I'm amazing, I've always been amazing. That's not true. There's been moments that I really think about that really bothers me to my core, because I wasn't there for a friend at their lowest when I should have been there. But my thought process at the time and everything that I was going through, there was a reason why I was you know, and these are things that I've talked about with my therapist, and these are things I've tried to take accountability for, that I would love to talk about, where, like, again, I wasn't the greatest friend, and I was like, I want to sit down and I want you to tell me everything that you feel. I want you to tell me, you know, that you hate me, or like all of the stuff that you have felt You know, you weren't there for me. You didn't talk to me. You didn't all of these things. And I want to be able to sit there and say, you know what? You're right. And I wasn't the greatest. And you deserve to hate me. And that's valid. And I understand that even after an apology doesn't warrant reconnection. And that's valid. And if people continue to hate me even after the fact, that's valid. I understand why you feel the way that you feel. I understand why you don't want me in your life. But if you do want me into your life, if you're willing to give me another chance, I promise that I will try my best to be a better friend. I will try my best to be a better person, because the me when I was younger is not the me that I am now. Who I was when I was 12, 13, 19, 20, 21, 22. The person that I was then is not who I am now at 29, approaching 30. 25, approaching 26. I'm not that same person. And so I have to set the tone for that, because yeah, I'm going to talk to myself like I'm the greatest, because I've gone through so much in my life that if I don't uplift myself, nobody will. You know what I mean? If I don't uplift myself, if I don't hold myself accountable, if I don't bring myself up, nobody will. So I'm not always an angel. Sometimes I was the devil. And I can admit it. And it would be fraudulent if I got on camera and said how perfect I have been, because I haven't always been perfect. I haven't always been the perfect partner. I have not always been the perfect friend. I have done things that were disrespectful. I have done things that have hurt people. And I'm willing and ready and available to talk about these things, talk about the stuff that was brought to my attention in the past that I will acknowledge now, because I think it's important to talk about it, because we're not always fucking perfect. We have the audacity. We aren't shit. And that's just valid. That's valid. That's what it is. You know what I mean? Like, that's just what it is. And so, you know, it's important to talk about these things. It's important to acknowledge these things. It's important to go over these things. And it's important that I break it down, especially as we talk about healing, because with healing comes accountability. And I started off with accountability first before I can go down the route of forgiveness, because you cannot forgive yourself. You cannot change as a person if you don't acknowledge the hurt, the harm, the everything that you have done in the past. Because we can't go forward now saying I'm the greatest person ever, but when people bring it to your attention like, hey, actually, you were shitty to me. Actually, when we were this many years old, what you did really affected me. What you did really affected me. You know what I mean? Like, and if that's the case, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it, because I would never intentionally, even when I was younger, because some of the stuff that was brought to me, I was like, oh, like that wasn't my intention. But it doesn't matter what our intention is. We've already caused the harm. So if we've already caused the harm, what we need to go forward is acknowledging what we've done, apologizing, and recognize, you know, I guess I have a trait like that I didn't realize, and that's something that I need to work on. Accountability comes before healing. So, revisiting inner teenage stuff, inner teenage healing, all of these things. This is called Candy. And for y'all who weren't, if you know you were a scene kid back then, or you're not a scene kid now, these are candy. And usually candy is made. I got this candy. So there's like this whole like ritual thing that you do when you go to raves, and you hold people's hands and then you pull this over and then you give them one of your candy. This one I actually got when I was 13. This one as well. These ones are just little ones that I've gotten for thrift store. This one I actually gave my little sister. She's not really my little sister, but my little sister one, and we have a matching one. It's magnet, so when we connect, it connects it together. And I got her into candy. This I got from the cherry auction, and they were $1. This one actually got from Five and Below. Same thing, I got these at the Remate. In my city, it's called the cherry auction, but it's basically the Remate flea market, you know, I guess. You know, this one, I don't know where I got this from. I actually found it. I have some that was made. My niece made me one, and I refused to wear. I used to wear it all the time, but the little teddy bear on it came off. She actually made a candy bracelet for me. And then the girls that my sister had as foster children, they actually made me one out of rubber band, and that one broke. And I'm so sad. Hold on, let me get it. Okay. So I can't find the teddy bear for this one, but my niece actually made this one, and it has like a little bear that's like clear and it's blue, and this one was my favorite. She made this for me when she was maybe like 11 or so. This one I actually got from a thrift store. This is actually my favorite one because I love stars, and this is the one that was made for me out of rubber band, and they were trying to show me how to make it, but girl, I just could not get it. I don't know what I did wrong, but it unraveled. But yeah. So, part of the teenage healing. So, what also comes with inner teenage healing is first addressing the stuff that I've done wrong. And if anyone ever sees this from my city, or if you've known me or whatever it may be, even if it's anonymously, please put it down in the comment and say what you've always wanted to say to me so that I can properly address it and talk about it. Or even if you want to get in contact with me to talk about it, let's talk about it. I'm like one of those people. Let's talk about it. Let's address it. If I wasn't shit, tell me. And there's some people that I know ain't shit to, and I'm actually going to make a video specifically talking about these things, talking about the importance of accountability and why I felt that for a while my karma was wrong. My karma was off. And I know my therapist was like, that's not how karma works. Like, you have to understand that when you were younger, when you were 19 years old, when you were 17 years old, when you were 13 years old, your frontal lobe, even then when I was speaking to her, your frontal lobe isn't even fully developed, babe. Your decision-making skills were not all the way together. Your decision-making skills were garbage. It was shit. The way that you interpreted things and try to make things make sense, it didn't make sense because you didn't, like, mentally, you didn't have the tools for that. On top of that, you were having a mental health crisis where you were on a decline. Literally, when I was 19, 20, I felt that everybody was against me. I felt that everybody was plotted for my downfall, and that's not true. It's the mental health issues talking, because it's not true. So that's also why it's important to get help and to take your medication and to do all of these things, because when it comes to your mental health, it's important, because the way that you are when you are undiagnosed, and it affects the people around you. And that is why people say, I would never deal with somebody who has borderline disorder. I'll never deal with somebody who has bipolar schizophrenia. Because when you're not doing what you're supposed to do to help yourself, to better yourself, it harms the people around you. And this also is very true when it came to my first long-term relationship. It's true. So I will be talking about accountability. And accountability is the first step to healing. And then the second step after accountability is forgiveness, because you have to forgive yourself. If you don't make peace with those people, even if making peace with the fact that this person will always fucking hate me, and it's my fault, that this person will always fucking hate me because I was garbage. Now, you can continue to be garbage and you can continue to hurt people, use people, do all of these things. You can continue to be that. And then guess what? When you get older, when you're at your lowest, God forbid something happens to you medically where you can't walk no more, you can't do anything, and then you realize nobody is there for you because you were so shit to people. When you're at your lowest and you wish that you had someone, you'll realize, let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. I love my family. I do. But there has been some family members that I've thought about when they got older and they got sick and they had no friends. Partner left them. They had nothing on their deathbed alone. I think about people in my family now who are older, who have nobody, but they're still filled with drama, negativity, talking badly on people. They have nobody and they're sad about it. But it's like you created this for yourself all of these years. You could have been a better person. You could have worked on yourself. You could have cared about how you treated people. You could have done all of these things, but look at you. You're alone. And you have nobody because you've made peace with the fact that I'm going to talk to people however I want to talk to them. I'm going to treat them however I want to treat them. I'm going to do whatever I want to do to them. And it doesn't matter what the fuck they think. It doesn't matter what the fuck they feel. It doesn't matter. That's the problem. That's the problem. And that's how people end up dying alone. And then that's how they end up coming back in the next life, trying to fix all of this stuff, trying to redo to like, oh, let me try to redo it again. And then guess what? You've fallen down the same, and then you redo it again and you live this life over and over and over and over. And it's like, when you gonna break the samsara? When you gonna break the cycle? When you gonna realize, you know what? I did hurt those people. I did break their heart. I was a shit friend. I was a shit partner. I was a shit person. But you know what? I want to be a better person now. And with being that, is to take accountability. Be genuine in your apology. And even if that person never wants to hear from you again, I am so sorry. My camera cut out. Even if that person never wants to talk to you again, you have to make peace with the fact, you have to make peace with that choice. You have to talk to yourself about it, and you have to say, you know what? I was wrong. And you know what? I forgive myself for who I have been. And that's why healing is important, because you have to deep dive. There's a reason why you treat people the way that you do. How did your parents treat you when you were emotional? How did your parents treat you when you were alone? That's when we go to attachment styles. This is when we look at how our parents were, that shaped who we are and why we make the decisions that we make. That's also why it's important to go to therapy. But if you can't do it for yourself, I need you to get out that shadow work journal and do that shadow work, because shadow work is hard. It's hard. Shadow work is important. And once you've gone through the shadow, because we can never get rid of the shadow parts of ourselves, we can only make peace with it. And we can only know when to use the shadow parts of ourselves. We can only know when it's important to tap into that deep energy of Lilith, of the dark side of the moon, of Black Moon Lilith. It's important to know when to tap into this energy for when it's important, and know when to not allow that shadows to become our identity, to become our ego. We have to continue to shed the parts of ourselves that we thought we knew. So we can only make peace with our shadow. But then that's when it's important to go into light work. Because once you've tore down everything that you've known about yourself, you start to rebuild yourself up. And it starts with inner child healing. It starts with inner child healing. And once I went through the shadow and I said, someone recommended something to me and I was like, when I was a child, I used to love it. I have a bed full of Squishmallows. This is Alder. And I got him around Halloween. And Alder likes to, make soup in a little witch pot. older. And then he has his friend Autumn, who I also got. They all have a story. They all have a story. Like this teddy bear here. My ex gave me this teddy bear when he would go to the army, and I would miss him so much. And he would spray his cologne on it, so at least when I hugged him, I would have the smell of him. So this is Miguel Jr. And I have another red dog teddy bear that I had since I was a child. She was there. She witnessed all of my trauma. And she has the most saddest eyes because she was... I'm going to get her. I'm going to get her. Where's she at? Ugh. Where is she at? No, I can't find her right now. She's hiding. She's hiding. She doesn't want to be bothered. Okay. I understand. So, I have another one. I can't find her. She's hiding. I'm telling you, they're like Toy Story. But this is Miguel Jr. And the other one, she's a red teddy bear. And her name is Red. And they're dating. And ever since that I put them together, they've been the happiest. Isn't that right, Miguel Jr.? So, you go through the inner child healing, and so I was in my baby girl era, which I always am. Like, I always am. And so, once you come out of the storm, there's always a rainbow waiting, and then you can go into healing, and then you end up attracting the right people. You end up being a happier person, or you try to work on being a happier person. And then, once you come out of the inner child healing, then you enter the inner teenage healing. And that's the areas where your insecurities are. That's the areas where, you had a hard time with relationships because the person that you dated did this. Every person that you dated did this. You think about how people treated you. You think about how your parents treated you, all the trauma that you went through. If you are a man, especially a black man, and you were kicked out of the house at a young age, and you weren't raised by your parents. You weren't actually raised. You just existed. They didn't really raise you. You were just doing whatever, and they made excuses for you, especially when you're the baby of the family. That goes for girls and guys. So, this is supposed to be a TLDR, but you know what I'm saying? Like, these conversations are important. So, I'm going to be showing this stuff. I'm going to be talking about this stuff because it's important in my journey, so that when you see how happy I am, how open I am, how whatever, sometimes I'm not always happy. I'm not. But you know what? At least I can say that I've looked at the shadow parts of myself. I've made peace with it. All of these things, so that I let the light in. Because I wasn't always perfect, and I'm not perfect. And I'll never sit up here and pretend like I'm the greatest person ever and my shit don't stink, because it's not true. My shit has stinked before. But I wiped my ass. Period. Okay, anyways, thank you for watching. I guess this feels corny to say, but like, comment, subscribe. If you don't even want to comment, just like and subscribe. Literally. Yeah. So, bye.